Live from WRAL News Headquarters in Raleigh, your number one source for local news. WRAL News, coverage you can count on.
Stocks nosedive as economic data showed persistent inflation and sharp slowdown in growth.
Plus, new details in the FAA investigation. What a preliminary investigation says contributed to yesterday's crash at RDU.
And Hamas releases a so-called video offering proof of life of an Israeli-American hostage. Reaction from the parents of Hirsch Goldberg, Poland.
Dow Jones Industrial Average on track for its worst day ever this year. Look at this, down 567 points at this hour, dragged down by Caterpillar and IBM. Wall Street rattled by data that traders are not taking well. The U.S. seeing a sharp slowdown in growth and persistent inflation. It puts into question whether the Federal Reserve will be able to cut rates anytime soon. The FAA shares preliminary findings from its investigation into the small plane crash at RDU Airport.
It was breaking news at this time yesterday when that plane crashed right near Terminal 1, injuring 2 people on board. WRAL's Sean Gallagher is back at RDU today and joins us live now.
And Sean, the FAA confirmed what happened when the pilot was trying to land.
Yeah, that's right, Renee and Jeff. Again, this report very limited since it is preliminary, but it says they believe that the pilot and the aircraft bounced off the runway as they were attempting to make that landing here. Now, that plane was towed over here last night around 5:30. You can still see it. It appears it's being towed to another place again, this time likely headed to Delaware for a more thorough investigation by the NTSB. UNC Air Operations say they're pausing flights while they work with federal investigators to analyze the cause of this crash. Now, that preliminary report says the pilot was attempting to land on the smallest of 3 runways here at RDU around 10 a.m. yesterday. The pilot and a UNC physician were returning to Raleigh after a flight to Wilmington. Now, while it'll likely take more than a year for the NTSB to complete its investigation to fully understand what happened, aviation expert Jim Krause says there are a number of things that could have caused the airplane to bounce on the runway.
You could have an unforecast downdraft. You could have some weather phenomenon that helped the pilot to get in this situation. But unfortunately, most frequently, it's a pilot mistake that causes this.
Now, that pilot, Art Johnson, WRAL News has learned he is still in fair condition, but there's optimism he will make a full recovery. And then that UNC physician, Dr. Paul Chelminsky, he had minor injuries but was able to return back home yesterday, Renee.
Very encouraging news on the people involved in that plane crash. Sean Gallagher live out at RDU.
A child was injured by a bullet that pierced through the wall of a Cumberland County home overnight. The sheriff's office is searching for the shooter who opened fire along Pleasant View Drive. That's east of Fayetteville. WRAL's Eric Miller is live outside that home that was hit by gunfire. Eric?
Jeff, the Cumberland County Sheriff's Office is calling this a drive-by shooting. And looking out here this afternoon, you can see there's still plenty of signs of what happened out here. You see the Sheriff's Office left behind some crime scene tape here. And as we pan over here to the home this family lived in, you can see it is riddled from one side to the other with bullet holes. You take a look at this video here, it gives you a closer idea of what we're looking at. The Sheriff's Office says all of this happened right around 11:40 last night. Neighbors we spoke with say they heard 10 to 15 shots, then looked outside a short time later to see sheriff's deputies as well as other neighbors running around in the aftermath of this shooting. Now, we know that there is one victim here in this shooting, that juvenile, that child. We're still working to learn more about their condition this afternoon. We also know at this point no arrests have been made. The Cumberland County Sheriff's Office is asking anybody with information to come forward in this case. We'll, of course, stay on top of things, bringing you details as we get them. Jeff?
All right, Eric Miller live in Cumberland County with fresh details on that story. Thank you.
And happening right now in the WRAL Live Center, New York's highest court overturned Harvey Weinstein's 2020 rape conviction, ordering a new trial. They argue that the disgraced movie producer did not get a fair trial, including a decision to let women testify about allegations that weren't part of this case. His accusers could be again forced to retell their stories on the witness stand. He has been serving a 23-year sentence in a New York prison. One of Weinstein's lawyers today said this is a tremendous victory for every criminal defendant in the state of New York, while attorneys that represented 8 Weinstein accusers calling this ruling a major step back in holding those accountable for acts of sexual violence. Weinstein will remain in jail because of a separate charge he was convicted of in Los Angeles for another rape. He was sentenced to 16 years in prison for that one.
A 16-year-old is charged with killing a 13-year-old girl at a Raleigh apartment. Micaiah Daniel was found dead Monday morning when police responded to a shooting at the Trails of North Hills apartments off Leadmine Road. She was an 8th grader at Ligon Middle School. The 16-year-old is charged with murder and has been taken into custody. Police have not released the suspect's name because of the person's age. A balloon release to honor Micaiah is scheduled for Saturday night at 7 at Chavis Community Center. Students and teachers at a Sampson County middle school were greeted by grief counselors today because of a death on campus. The name of the person who died has not been released, but students say he was a faculty member. The Sampson County Sheriff's Office says the man was found dead in a car near Hobton Middle School's athletic field yesterday afternoon. It appears he shot himself. Students say the man who died was well known in the school and community. WRAL has reached out to both the school and Sheriff's Office for more information.
The Supreme Court is hearing arguments today from former President Donald Trump's attorneys that their client has total immunity from criminal charges for trying to overturn the 2020 election. Trump's team will argue that anything he did to block certifying President Biden's election win was part of his official duties and can't be prosecuted. This includes anything he said running up to the January 6th Capitol attack. The former president is in New York, where he faces separate criminal charges that he tried to hide a hush money payment. Oral arguments are underway right now. There's no timetable for a ruling, which could come late June or early July, and that might not leave enough time for a trial to be held before voting begins in the 2024 election. Meantime, the Biden administration finalized new rules for power plants in one of the most significant environmental actions to date. It compels coal and new natural gas power plants to either cut or capture 90% of their climate pollution by the year 2032. The EPA's rules also require safer disposal of toxic wastewater and coal ash. These changes are expected to reduce the carbon dioxide emissions from the sector by 75%.
Early voting starts today for the races still undecided after the March primary. People can vote in person for the runoff elections until May 11th. There are 3 Republican runoffs for lieutenant governor, state auditor, and the 13th congressional district. In Orange County, the 3rd seat on the school's Board of Education will be decided. For a full list of who's running, where you can vote, and what to take with you, check out the WRAL voter guide on WRAL.com. The 18th annual NC Black Summit is returning to Raleigh once again. The 2-day event hosted by the North Carolina Black Alliance starts today at the Raleigh Convention Center. It serves as a platform for elected leaders and other community stakeholders to talk about issues affecting our state. This year's headliners include comedian Amanda Seales and former aide to President Obama, Reggie Love.
We're hearing from the parents of an Israeli American taken hostage by Hamas 6 months ago. Speaking under duress, Hirsch Goldberg Poland criticizes the Israeli government of Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, as other Israeli hostages in Hamas propaganda videos have done before. As Raf Sanchez reports, his parents are demanding his release as well as the release of the other hostages.
Shalom.
This morning, the FBI looking for clues in this Hamas video of American-Israeli hostage Hirsch Goldberg Poland and his parents getting a first glimpse of their missing son. The video is undated, and it shows Hirsch has lost his left hand, but he's alive. His family gave us permission to show the footage.
What was it like for you to see that video?
I mean, initially, we were just crying. This was a tremendous validation. And on the other hand, we see him, he's in captivity. He's obviously suffering with this missing dominant arm.
He certainly doesn't look like himself, but it was amazing to see him and amazing to see that he speaks like himself with clarity and strength.
The last sighting of their son was on October 7th, as he was kidnapped from the Supernova Music Festival, his left arm badly damaged by a Hamas grenade. Rachel and John have campaigned tirelessly for their son's release. Since October 7th, a painful daily ritual.
So every day I write the number of days it's been since Hirsch was stolen.
Hirsch is one of 5 Americans still believed to be alive in Hamas captivity. 4 others were released last year, including 4-year-old Abigail Edan, the youngest American, who yesterday became the first freed hostage to meet President Biden at the White House. But Israel says 133 hostages are still in Gaza, at least 36 of them confirmed dead.
How do you stay hopeful?
Well, we say all the time, hope is mandatory. So it's not really a choice, it's mandatory.
Raf Sanchez reporting. Hirsch had planned to travel around the world, and on the day he was scheduled to leave, December 27th, his mother went to the airport with friends and handed stickers of Hirsch to passengers on his flight, asking them to send photos from the places they visit.
Next at noon, the Port of Baltimore is closer to fully reopening today. The shipping channel just cleared for travel, and the next step in cleaning up the collapsed bridge.
Also stepping back in time when Triceratops and Tyrannosaurus roamed the earth, and all you have to do is go downtown for it. We'll take you there live next as you take a look at this live picture.
Plus, campus protests are growing as tensions rise at pro-Palestinian demonstrations. What Speaker Mike Johnson said on campus at Columbia University. Elizabeth.
And hopefully you can find some time to spend outside. It is an absolutely gorgeous day in our WRAL gardens. I'll show you when temperatures will start to get hotter coming up.
Keep watching WRAL News over the air Channel 34 and Spectrum Channel 1257.
Canton Police has released body cam video that shows officers arresting a man after he left the scene of a traffic accident and entered a nearby bar. When officers got to that scene, they found a power pole in the road that had been sheared in half in the accident. Police found Frank Tyson, struggled with him while putting him into handcuffs. And during the struggle, an officer is seen with a knee on Tyson's upper body for about 30 seconds as the man says he can't breathe.
Calm down! Calm down! Okay, go ahead, Jesse. I can't read. 20 custody, 2029. Stop fighting! I can't read.
Tyson was later pronounced dead. The 2 primary officers on the call have been placed on administrative leave.
This morning, a 4th channel opened at the Port of Baltimore to allow larger ships to pass the wreckage of the collapsed Key Bridge. The temporary channel is expected to be open for 4 days. 3 other channels will remain available for smaller commercial vessels. The next focus will shift to moving the Dolly cargo ship that crashed into the bridge last month and reopening the full channel. They expect that permanent channel to be open by the end of May. Today marks 10 years since the water crisis began in Flint, Michigan. The city opened up its water facilities so that people could see them firsthand. The city says more than $146 million have been poured into Flint's water systems to ensure the drinking water is safe. 10 years ago, Flint switched its water supply from Detroit's water system, aiming to join another water authority to save money. But a delay in connecting pipes sent corroded water into homes, causing illnesses and deaths.
All right, this is pretty cool. Brand new displays giving folks a chance to learn the history behind 2 well-known dinosaurs, the Tyrannosaur and the Triceratops.
This morning, Governor Roy Cooper took part in the ribbon-cutting ceremony for the Dueling Dinosaurs display at the Museum of Natural Sciences. And that's where we find WRAL's Kat Campbell with a sneak peek. And Kat, since this is Dueling Dinosaurs, if you had to choose one, Tyrannosaur or Triceratops, who are you going with?
I'm going to go with the Triceratops. I mean, the head is like 2 of me combined, and that's just the head. So these are absolutely massive dinosaurs. Each block that you see here is just part of the dinosaur. But today was the official ribbon cutting. And of course, they had to do it in style today. Roy Cooper helped with that. It was a dinosaur that actually, a skull that helped cut the ribbon to open the exhibit. Don't forget, it all opens to the public for free this Saturday. So we got to talk about what's going on in here. This is the Triceratops hip here. We got part of the tail, the Tyrannosaur body. So let's bring in the expert. This is Eric Lunn. He is the lab manager here, the paleontology lab manager at the SECU Dino Lab. So let's talk about how you got 2 dinosaurs from where they were discovered in pretty immaculate condition all the way here to Raleigh, North Carolina.
Yeah, pretty miraculous feat to move 31,000 pounds of Montana soil and fossil on flatbed here to North Carolina, and then to get them into the space we're standing in. And we've specifically built this room to be able to take all of the weight of these fossil blocks and be able to work on them in here.
It's pretty remarkable. And you have some of the equipment up here. So they actually have a crane that can lift 10 tons at the SCCU Dino Lab. This was the real crane that was used to bring in all these pieces of the fossils that you see here. One of the cool things is that you guys are working right here. You're doing your day-to-day job, and all the kids and all the adults that come through here can see you do it in real time and ask questions. How's that been? You've had a few kids come through with some questions.
It's going to be pretty amazing. We are the only fossil lab space in the world where people get to come inside on a regular basis and get up close and personal with the paleontologists and the fossils and watch us do our research and our work right there in front of them.
It's really cool to see, and you guys have a ton of hands-on exhibits for the kids so they can try their hands at it too.
We do.
And ask you questions, so very interactive for everybody that comes by. You know, one of the things that's so cool about how these dinosaurs were found is that they were found together, and that's one of the big questions that you guys are hoping to answer, is why they were found together. So what are some of the initial hypotheses that you guys are going to explore on that?
Right, so these dinosaurs are called the dueling dinosaurs, but we don't actually know if they were indeed fighting. They could have just been, one of them could have already been dead, and this one behind us, the Tyrannosaur, could have come to feed on the Triceratops. Or they could have been totally separate and just washed in. The only thing that we kind of know right now is that whatever brought these two animals together was one single event, be it a flood or some other catastrophic event that buried these two animals as carcasses together.
It's pretty cool stuff. You got to come out here, see it yourself. It is free. The fun kicks off this Saturday. After Saturday, you do need to reserve a time slot in advance because it's going to be packed in here. What do you say, Elizabeth? Are you going to be coming out to the North Carolina Museum of Natural Sciences this weekend?
And it is a beautiful day in the gardens. It was so great to hear from Kat over there at the museum. Really, really exciting stuff going on there. Always. And beautiful, again, to be outside, too. We take a live look at the WRAL gardens. We had a few folks out here just a few minutes ago enjoying this gorgeous day, and they left, so there's plenty of room for you. You can come on out. The azaleas themselves are mostly past peak at this point, but there's always something blooming. The gardeners here have put in a bunch of hydrangeas, and so those are scattered all through the gardens too, and those will start to bloom sometime soon. It is 71 degrees. It's very comfortable out here right now. Our wind is northeast at 8 miles per hour. That northeasterly wind is going to end up sending us some cool air, especially tomorrow morning. We'll see temperatures in the 40s. A little wasp out here. Temperatures climbing to the mid-70s for this afternoon, so feeling good out here as we get through the afternoon. Our winds are a little breezy. We have that wind again out of the northeast, or anywhere from 5 to 10 miles per hour right now, but it's not terribly gusty. We could see some gusts, maybe 10 to 15 miles per hour through the afternoon. That's not much. Just a very, very pleasant afternoon. Right now, it is 63 up in Roxborough. It's 73 in Fayetteville, 71 in Goldsboro, 72 in Southern Pine. So it's lovely. Just a beautiful, beautiful day out here. We'll see highs in the mid 70s in Raleigh, 72 in Durham, 78 degrees in Fayetteville with plenty of sunshine. And really, one of the joys of weather right now is that the humidity is low. That makes it great for being outside. I know people are getting excited about this game, especially after game 2 and the way that the Canes won. So there are lots of watch parties popping up all over. If you're going to be out for those, say 5 o'clock, 70 degrees with mostly sunny skies and dropping into the 60s by the time the game is over. Our dew points are looking fantastic for the next little while. We have a dew point of 48 for today, 50 Friday, 53 Saturday, and then it starts to creep closer to 60. Now Monday, our high temperatures will be in the 80s, and we are looking at some very warm conditions. Watch how that changes. We have cool air over us right now. You can see the blue shaded area, but watch all that warmth. The yellows and the oranges start to push in. We're going to see a reversal of our winds. Our winds coming out of the southwest are going to help to push some much warmer air into the region. So we take a look at our mild week. 75 degrees is our normal high. By Monday, it's 86, and our dew point will climb to around 60. And you'll start to notice notice it. Now, 70 would make it feel really sticky, and we feel that in, say, July and August. So this is just going to be the humidity creeping up a touch. But that 88 on Tuesday is likely to be close to a record. The record just there at 90. So we're just going to be a few degrees off from the record. It's also a very dry 7-day forecast. I mean, it's lovely. Today, tomorrow, Saturday, temperatures in the 70s, low 80s Sunday. You know, we're getting a little on the hot side Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. But we really need some rain. The drought monitor came out just a little while ago, and it has expanded across the viewing area. I'll show you who is looking abnormally dry coming up in just a little bit.
Elizabeth, thanks. Coming up today on WRAL News at 4, weight loss drug Wegovy approved for use in teens last year. We did some digging to learn how many teenagers in North Carolina are getting prescriptions for it.
Tonight at 6, May is the deadliest month for traffic crashes in our state. A growing reason is distracted driving. See what a ride with a state trooper revealed about the number of drivers on their phones. Still ahead this noon, first they're sour, then they're sweet. Up next, a look at this new candy-inspired Oreo cookie hitting grocery shelves next month.
And fans are expected to flood Paris for the Summer Olympics. We'll show you how the super rich will be watching this year's games.
Here's a live look from our WRAL live cam network, the DBAP over in the Bulls City, a homestand for the Durham Bulls. As you watch WRAL News, available on Spectrum and the WRAL app on your TV or streaming device. Wake County Public School juniors and seniors took advantage of a big career fair event. It's called Extreme Beginnings School to Careers, and it's focused on preparing students for the workforce after graduation. Local employers from the business community spoke with students about their future. Wake County Public Schools Chairman Bill Saylor says it's about finding their best options.
Well, college is not for everyone, and in today's world, with college getting more and more expensive, students oftentimes are looking for other alternatives. This gives them the opportunity to do career exploration.
The students also learned about personal branding and took part in practice job interviews.
If your future travel plans include a trip out of the country, you'll need a passport. But if you've never gone through the process, Wake County can help. The Passport Fair takes place on Monday at the Wake County Commons Building on Curia Drive. The fair runs from 9 a.m. to 3:30 p.m., and you can find a list of documents you need to bring at wake.gov. Paris is giving a first look into its special lounges for fans of the upcoming Summer Olympics. The 2024 Paris Olympics is rolling out red carpets for those flush with cash. A VIP 6-night package includes a luxury hotel stay, priority seating at the opening ceremony, as well as major events. And don't forget the city tour. All of this for just under $48,000.
Oreo's newest mashup, may leave a sour taste in your mouth. The cookie brand is teaming up with Sour Patch Kids for the new Sour Patch Oreos. Limited edition cookie flavored golden Oreos stuffed with colorful sour sugar sprinkles. The brands even partnered together for exclusive merch. Some crew necks, joggers, socks, and much more. As you see here, the cookies hit shelves May 6th. Chaos across the country as protesters at universities all around the U.S. dig in over the Israel-Hamas war. The deadline many students now face before police move in.
A vote today by the FCC is expected to restore net neutrality, why some industry experts are opposed to the rule. And here's a look at your winning lottery numbers.
Shot in 4K ultra high definition. Your number one source for local news. WRAL News. Coverage you can count on.
Pro-Palestinian demonstrations at college campuses are spreading across the nation. Tensions keep rising since Hamas's October 7th attack on Israel.
And some of the protests are leading to clashes with school officials and law enforcement. And NBC's Stephanie Goss shares the ultimatum House Speaker Mike Johnson leveled at Columbia University's president.
Columbia University has given the tent encampment here on campus a 48-hour extension, but that deadline runs out tonight at midnight. And the students who I've spoken with here say they aren't going anywhere. Meanwhile, tension on campus is growing from coast to coast. Student protesters demanding that their universities cut financial ties with Israel, while these encampments have become flashpoints for harassment and intimidation. Notably, overnight confrontations at Emerson in downtown Boston, a number of students taking over an alley there. Over 100 people were arrested by Boston police. At the University of Texas, there were clashes with police in riot gear who arrested dozens of protesters. And then out in California at USC, a number of protesters were told to clear out of the center of campus. Some did not listen to that call, and there were arrests there as well. Meanwhile, at Columbia, the Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, visited the school and on the steps of the library called on the president of the university, Manoush Shafiq, to step down if she can't get control of the encampment here. But the Board of Trustees has issued a statement in support of her, saying she has struck that balance between freedom of speech and protecting students on campus. Stephanie Gosk, NBC News, New York.
In Washington, meantime, a memorial will honor World Central Kitchen workers. These were the people killed during Israeli strikes this month. Jose Andres, the celebrity chef behind the disaster relief group, is expected to speak at that gathering. Senior Biden administration officials are expected to be there as well. And the aid workers, they were killed on April 1st while on a food delivery mission in Gaza.
We have a warning from the Cumberland County Sheriff's Office about a jury scam. The Sheriff's Office says scammers are calling people pretending to be county officials or law enforcement. The caller tells the person they have either a bench warrant or an arrest warrant for missing jury duty. And to avoid jail time, the scammer asks for money. At least one person has fallen for this. The Cumberland County Sheriff's Office says they will never ask for money over the phone or email. 4 people are out of their home and a child is hurt after an early morning fire in Fayetteville. The fire happened at a home on Ainsley Street just after 1:30 this morning. It broke out in the kitchen. Firefighters say the child was hurt while trying to put out the fire. The Red Cross is helping the family.
Today, Democratic lawmakers will join gun safety advocates in a push for new legislation in North Carolina. Lawmakers will be joined by representatives from Moms Demand Action and other organizations. They're calling for new gun safety legislation, including safe storage and red flag laws. Democrats have tried many versions of gun bills for years, but have not gone anywhere in the Republican-controlled legislature. Our WRAL News poll last month found a majority of North Carolinians would support new legislation to tackle gun violence. The FCC votes today on a measure that ensures fair access to open internet. It's called net neutrality.
Amy Kiley reports on how that could change your online experience.
Net neutrality is making a comeback with an FCC vote today. That means internet providers won't be able to speed up or slow down certain traffic. New FCC rules ban blocking, throttling, or disadvantaging certain content, apps, or services. They also bar prioritizing them in return for payment. An FCC vote under the Obama administration is what first put net neutrality in play.
You would get AOL and CompuServe and services like that saying, well, we provide email services and you can make websites and there's shopping. So we're more than simple utilities. And what's happened over time is that consumers don't want to get that stuff from their broadband provider.
It's been gone since 2018 due to a later FCC decision under the Trump administration.
The internet of 2014 was not some sort of hopeless hellscape. It was actually pretty awesome.
This time around, the FCC is taking into account modern use of smartphones and other devices. But the basic debate is the same. Advocates for net neutrality say they want a free and open internet. Opponents argue that's bad for businesses and consumers.
Innovation has flourished. Competition has increased. The internet remains a vehicle for free and open discourse.
That was Amy Kiley reporting. The FCC says it'll take a couple months to enact the rules. Opponents are already gearing up for legal challenges.
Using artificial intelligence in the world of medicine, how it can help analyze which plants could be helpful to creating new medications.
Plus, a little later, we'll talk with the organizer for the Komen Triangle Race for the Cure, what you can expect from this weekend's event and how you can support the fight against breast cancer. Be sure to download the WRAL News app to stay connected to breaking news, weather alerts, and stories that matter to you. Many plants around the world hold materials used in common and important medications.
And now there are scientists in England that say plants could be holding the clues to how we can develop new medications in the future. Sean Langale spoke with a researcher who's using artificial intelligence software to unlock those answers.
From cough drops to aspirin and beyond, many of the medical remedies we seek when we're sick have ingredients that come from nature. According to the Department of Agriculture, about 40% of drugs behind pharmacy counters in Western countries are derived from plants. But now scientists are trying to discover medicines of the future, combining the natural and digital worlds with help from artificial intelligence.
It's a huge study.
Researchers are using AI to analyze the properties of hundreds of species of plants in an effort to see how they could be related. AI will then cross-reference that genetic data with the properties of known medicines we use today.
So the project I'm leading at Kew aims to address this challenge by developing an artificial intelligence approach to predict which plant species would be more likely to contain lead compounds for drug discovery.
The team says finding other plants who can make new and existing medicines from is critical, citing how extracting materials from the same types of plants over time could cause dramatic declines in those species.
That was Sean Langale reporting. A North Carolina nonprofit is educating people about AI. The Defense Alliance of NC visited ECU in Greenville to talk about artificial intelligence. These workshops have been held at universities across the state. The main goal is to inform people about the technology and how it could help businesses. There were several topics of conversation during the meeting, including AI in the health field.
Susan G. Komen Race for the Cure returns to the Triangle, and once again, WRAL is a proud community partner. We'll tell you how you can support patients now while helping to find a cure.
And the show must go on. A famous venue in Paris is missing some iconic pieces. Managers say the club will remain open. In a little over a week, the 2024 Komen Triangle Race for the Cure returns to our area. Survivors, caregivers, and supporters will unite to fight breast cancer one step at a time on Saturday, May 4th. Joining us to talk about this year's event is Executive Director Jen Briand. Jen, so great to see you and let people know about this important event. You know, over the years, I've had a chance to take part in Race for the Cure, and it is just so inspirational and moving, and it really is a celebration, isn't it?
It really is. Thank you so much for having me, Renee. I truly appreciate it. It is such a wonderful time for the community to come together and lean on one another and support each other as we all know, many families have to deal with a breast cancer diagnosis. So we're so excited.
And everyone knows someone who is on that journey. Talk about how this is a fundraiser and how proceeds from the race help people in their fight against breast cancer.
Yeah, absolutely. So what I'll also share, I navigated my own breast cancer diagnosis a couple of years ago, and my daughter was just turning about a year old, and my husband and I felt very lost, and, you know, nobody thinks you're going to get breast cancer in your early 30s. And I think for me, just having access to information and resources to really understand what I was going through and what my body was doing. So Komen invests in our patient care center, which really takes care of people going through breast cancer from A to Z, from what doctor should I see, what should I be expecting, lending an ear to really listen to the patient and address those concerns. So the patient care center is a huge piece of where the funds go. Like I said, just to really be that, therapeutic ear, and also just provide really great resources on what is accessible in the community. And then also research is huge. We've made such incredible strides in breast cancer research over the past 40 years, and we're not done. Our work is not done. So Komen alone in the past year has invested over $19 million for breast cancer research. And, our advocacy efforts to protect, those with breast cancer and ensure they have access to the drugs that they need and aren't, choosing between their next meal or getting to an appointment. So those are just some of the things that Komen invests in local communities across the country.
And Jen, thanks for sharing your personal testimony and experience with Komen and how much it's meant to you. How are you doing now?
Oh, thank you. I'm doing great. I had a successful surgery. I go see my oncologist once a year, so I'm happy and healthy. But it's important to share because a lot of people don't, they don't know what they don't know, right? And somebody who has breast cancer, often you don't think it looks like somebody who might be in their early 30s. And it was hard. So any chance that I can put a face to it, I think is really important. But thank you so much, Renee. I'm doing great. And I just can't wait to be among some of my fellow survivors next weekend.
And those fellow survivors will be there on the 4th of May there at Research Triangle Park for Race for the Cure. Let's run down some of the events that people can expect. 7 o'clock, the on-site registration, packet pickup. There'll be a Zumba warm-up at 8:20, a Parade of Hope at 8:30, and then the race begins at 9 o'clock. And a quick change that we want to note for people who've taken part in this before about the T-shirt pickup.
So in years past, we've had a couple days ahead of the event where folks could come, pick up their packets, pick up their T-shirts. But to make everything a little bit more streamlined and a little bit easier, everybody who registered prior to April 21st will have been sent via snail mail their T-shirt and their packet. And then everyone else who registers right now, because you can still register right now, you could pick all of those things up in the morning prior to the race starting at 9 a.m. when it opens up at 7. So we will have all of that available for you on site. If you registered prior to April 21st, that will show up in your mailbox.
So show your support. You can walk or run. WRAL is a proud community partner of the Komen Triangle Race for the Cure. And Mike Mays and Lena Tillett will serve as MCs. Jen, Brianna, all the best to you. And here's hoping for nice weather a week from Saturday.
Can't wait. Thank you so much, Renee. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.
Celebrate that survivorship. Keep up the fight. All right. Elizabeth Gardner is out on the weather patio right now with her track shoes on, Elizabeth, but you're not going running off just yet.
In just a little while, I am. I got a little bit more time on the clock. It is beautiful here in the gardens. Of course, we have sun kind of coming in and out of the clouds. So many things still in bloom here, and it's perfect temperature. We're really going to see a big warm up as we get into next week, and so just nice to enjoy some of these nice mild conditions. We take a look at satellite and radar. Here's a look at the big picture. Of course, we had this front moving through yesterday and brought a lot of cloud cover and a little bit of light patchy rain. But flowers in the garden are probably in need of some rain at this point. The drought monitor comes out on Thursdays, and so we'll take a look at that. When we showed it earlier this morning, we had from the Triangle area south, we're down towards Sanford and Fayetteville, and then kind of up the I-95 corridor through, say, Goldsboro, Wilson, Rocky Mount. But our northwestern counties were not under the abnormally dry banner there. So we're looking at a pretty big expansion of that abnormally dry area. So at this point, it covers almost our entire viewing area. So our dry conditions are getting worse week by week. We need some good, steady soaking rains, but we've been pretty rain free here for the month of April. We're at this point running an inch, a little over an inch and a half behind for the spring total. And of course, we would consider spring all of March, April, and May meteorologically. And most of that deficit comes from April. So we're hoping as we get into May, the pattern will change up a little bit, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen the first week of May. Our temperatures have been warm too. We're on track for the second warmest spring at RDU on record with 4.5 degrees above normal. So all the dry conditions make it great to get out in the yard, like Gerald Owens here riding around on his tractor on his farm. That is actually Gerald. So we have some good weather for outdoor projects, but you may have to start watering soon with our dry conditions. Bark in the Park is a great place to be when it is dry out. This is Jazzy. This is Kat Campbell's absolutely adorable dog, all dressed up in her jersey. Bark in the Park is tonight at the DBAP. It's one of their most popular events. There's Star Wars night on Saturday too, also a really popular one. More fun things ahead. This is the time of year where temperatures are pretty comfortable. The Fayetteville Dogwood Festival is this weekend, mostly cloudy, 77 on Saturday, and partly cloudy, 82 on Sunday. Don't forget the Courage play on Saturday. They're playing the rain. We could use some rain. I wasn't going to make that joke. I apologize. 71 at 7 o'clock. And as the game's wrapping up, temperatures will be in the upper 60s. So it's going to be a great weekend to be out and about enjoying some lovely weather. Now, Sunday, temperatures climb into the low 80s. And then next week, we're in the mid to upper 80s. Remember, on Tuesday, that 88 is almost a record high. Those overnight lows start to climb, too, back up into the 60s.
Thanks, Elizabeth. This has been a staple of a prominent venue in Paris for nearly 100 years. Well, now the managers of the famed Moulin Rouge dance hall are scrambling to rebuild the windmill ahead of the Olympics.
The winning Powerball numbers are 2, 20, 22, 26, and 47. The Powerball is 21. The multiplier is 4. We'll be right back.
We wrap things up with a look at a few of the headlines we are following for you today.
The plane that crashed at RDU likely bounced on the runway when trying to land. That's according to a preliminary report from the FAA. The pilot, Art Johnson, is still in fair condition. The UNC doctor on board, Paul Chelminsky, is back home from the hospital. It will likely take more than a year for the National Transportation Safety Board to complete its investigation.
A child was injured by a bullet that pierced right through the wall of a home in Cumberland County. The sheriff's office is searching for the gunman behind a drive-by shooting along Pleasant View Drive. The side of the home was sprayed with bullets. We're told a family with several children lived in this home. No word yet on the condition of the person who was shot. So far, no arrests have been made.
A 16-year-old is charged with killing a 13-year-old girl at a Raleigh apartment. Micaiah Daniel was found dead Monday morning at the Trails of North Hills Apartments off Lead Mine Road. She was an 8th grader at Ligon Middle School. The 16-year-old is charged with murder and is in custody. Police have not released the teenager's name.
Tonight, the Carolina Hurricanes try to make it 3 in a row to start their Stanley Cup playoff run. They are in New York for Game 3 of the series, with the Islanders leading 2-0. Canes fans are still buzzing about the incredible come-from-behind Game 2 win with 2 goals in 9 seconds, a playoff franchise record. There's just over 2 minutes left in the game to cap that amazing comeback. They will be looking for more of that magic tonight on Long Island with the puck drop for Game 3, 7:30 this evening. NC State basketball star DJ Horn will throw out the first pitch for the Carolina Mudcats tonight. He'll also be available for photos and a VIP meet and greet at 5 County Stadium. Separate tickets must be purchased for the meet and greet part of it. The appearance comes ahead of the NBA draft, which Horn will be in following the Pac's Final Four run.
The blades of the iconic red windmill that sits on top of Paris's most famous cabaret club crashed to the ground overnight. A spokesperson for the Moulin Rouge says the blades fell within an hour after the last show ended. No one was hurt. No word yet on what caused it, but managers have ruled out any malicious act. Shows at the famous venue will continue. For the first time in 5 years, the Museum of Life and Science in Durham has welcomed a litter of critically endangered red wolf pups. They were born on April 21st. There are 7 pups total, 3 females and 4 males. All are in good health. They are with their mom in the red wolf habitat. The museum says the first 30 days are a critical time, so they will have regular monitoring. Hope to see their little faces soon. The pups probably won't leave the den until early June.
Since you can't make them your pet of the day, we got this pet of the day for you. A fluffy boy from Cat Angels Pet Adoptions. Domino is a playful and fluffy 1-year-old boy. Loves playing with his toys, will roll over for belly rubs, and he has the most wonderful loud purr. Domino would make a great only cat or friend to another high-energy young cat or well-mannered dog. If you'd like to meet this handsome boy in person, you can just fill out an application on the Cat Angels website. Domino.
Love
Black
the
and white,
name.
yeah, I think it fits, right? It's cool.
Perfect.
NBC News Daily is up next on WRAL, your next local news update in 30 minutes.
Thanks for spending your lunch hour with us. Now go out, get outside, enjoy the sunshine. You can get breaking news updates anytime with our WRAL News app. We'll see you back here at 4. You have a wonderful Thursday.
Keep watching WRAL News over the air Channel 34 and Spectrum Channel 1257.